Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic: what double standard disgusts you? The employee should give 2 weeks notice, anything else is unprofessional. But the employer will actively obscure their intentions until the very last minute. I trained my replacement once, who had been introduced to me as my assistant, so obviously I wanted to teach them the job properly. I came into work after my weekend and was called over by my boss and told that my assistant had transitioned into my position and thank you for helping them ease into the role. Edit: I did not realize so many people went through the same thing. Holy crap. Holy shit, that's evil. I was in this scenario as the transitioned assistant, not knowing what was going to happen to the awesome woman who trained me. When I was able to quit the job, I walked in one morning and just left the keys on the desk. I was the only person who knew how to do multiple things, but fully felt they deserved nothing more. Right now in Canada, we're in strict lockdown, but a dozen of our politicians have been found vacationing around the globe. In other words, we can't bury grandma at a funeral, but these politicians can go work their tan. Thankfully, many of them have resigned in the last 2 weeks. In America, the politicians can barely get the words out of their mouth by the time they are breaking the rules. None of them ever resign either. Hell, in California, a city councilwoman literally voted to ban indoor dining and then immediately went out to eat following the vote. Here in Denver, the mayor made a statement about staying home for Thanksgiving from the fucking airport. If you always arrive to work late, you're in big trouble. If work never finishes on time, shrug, no big deal. I offered to work extra hours in a salaried position to get the company over a hurdle if they'd do the honorable thing and comp me hour for my trouble. Outright refused, because you're salaried, even though my giving up a few weekends would make a huge difference for their bottom line. So when they tried the extra hours mandatory free overtime thing later, I told them to piss up a rope. Nice. Fuck 'em. This is infuriating for me in a sales position. I constantly stay late or even have to come in on my off day to finish up a sale, because that's how I get paid. We still have scheduled hours, but me showing up 5 minutes late won't make a difference towards my paycheck because those 5 minutes definitely won't make me a sale. But they treat it like it's the absolute worst thing I could do. They've pulled up lists for each employees showing how many times we've been late by the minute. I was told I've been late 8 times for a grand total of 15 minutes over the last 6 months. This includes from lunch breaks as well. And I was told this was unacceptable and put on a warning. This same thing was said to majority of our sales employees. But we get no praise for working over or and finishing deals. It's crazy. I had an exit interview, I was leaving to job that paid better and had better bennies. My boss said, you're late 5 minutes at least once a week. I said, man, if that's all you got, I'm the best employee you're ever going to have. Business should do whatever it takes to get ahead, but if the employee tries to make their life better, or find a new job, they are lazy and ungrateful. Recently on here there was a thread about employers hiding the pay for a posted position. Most people hated it as it was a waste of time to get to the point where they are willing to tell you the pay and it's an insulting amount. A few people were defending it. One guy said that it only makes sense for the employer to hide this from you and try to manipulate you about pay. From the employer's point of view, they need to pay you as little as possible, and if they post a salary, then people who want more than that will not apply, so no chance to underpay someone who is worth more, and they will have to deal with people who aren't good enough for that meager salary. So according to this guy, really, it's for the best that they try to screw you with hidden a salary for job postings. He's saying this as if we're supposed to just agree with it and not stand up for ourselves and just bend over and take it. But us demanding to know the salary during the first contact about a job. Unacceptable. How dare we try to interfere with the company trying to screw us? What makes that even worse is it isn't even good for the company. It isn't like people do the interview on their free time. Everyone involved is wasting time. That costs money. Further, training people up and having them leave is a huge money sink for companies. I worked at a place that would intentionally hire people out of college and lowball them because the new hires didn't know any better, and then they would act shocked when those people would leave after 6 months of training to take a job making twice as much with the skills. I remember listening to a manager say that we were just losing money training these guys, and how they were so ungrateful. One of our senior guys was like, wait, you're paying them what? Well then I'm your problem, I'm the one telling them what they should be making in this industry. Can't really be mad at the kids for finding out you used their ignorance against them. The awkward /enraged silence that followed was priceless. Edit. Wow, I did not expect that to resonate with folks as much as it did. Thanks for the award and upvotes. When I leave a job, I'm generally expected to give 2 weeks notice so the company isn't left without essential things being done. When a company decides to let me go though, no warning to start putting in applications or saving more money. You're just gone. Total horse shit. Not in countries like Germany. It's harder for the company to get rid of you than you leaving. Similar in Australia, they need to give notice. I think I had one where it was 1 month notice, but they got around it by just paying me for the month and not having me come in, as I could have been a security risk if I was disgruntled. Certainly didn't mind being paid for a month to not come to work. I wish I could spend one day talking to my mother the way she talks to me. Sniping at her over every mistake, shouting her name from across the house and expecting her to drop everything and come talk to me, dismissing anything she says that I don't agree with by just saying no with no actual argument and expecting her to drop it. Me, logical argument with facts. Mom, well no because I said so. Me, Mom, can I please have some choco milk? Mom, I don't want to fight with you. A woman with her kids is taking care, a man with his kids is babysitting. I went to the bank with my kids once and I got hit with being Mr. Mom. I am their primary caregiver. I get hit with that crap when I take my kids to the physician. I didn't bring a pacifier when my infant got a shot, he didn't need one anyway, and the nurse says don't worry, I won't tell your wife. I snapped back and said I'm the one who made the damn appointment. My dad got this bullshit a lot too. He was a single father. I'm tired of this. I was in a meeting and my husband was taking care of our 3-year-old, while I finished up. Then I cooked, cleaned up, fed the child and went back into a meeting. My colleagues were like such a hands-on father. It took all of my patience and I just went, you mean looking after his child? That shut them up. My husband is very hands-on. He helps around the house, in the kitchen and with our child. I'm lucky compared to the other women who are from where I am. But that doesn't mean my husband is doing something beneath him. He's being a father, a partner, he's showing our child that we are all one in the house. My husband was the same way. It was such a wonderful way to parents, especially when they were young, but man did it piss me off when his brothers commented about him being the wife. Rich people can abuse the system and no one bats an eyelid, large companies with taxes etc. But when poor people do the same they are met with absolute hellfire from those above them. Edit, spelling. When the penalty for breaking a law is a fine, that law is meant for poor people. Set limit fines, sure, this is why we should have it based on percentage of wealth. Why do men get pockets big enough to hold all their shit and women get fake pockets sewn shut or a fucking micro pocket? Is it too much to ask that I don't have to carry around a satchel like a peasant? Edit, well fuck, went to bed and woke up famous. I might actually need a bag for all these replies. Edit 2, to all the people telling me to just buy cargo pants, I'm European. We don't do that here. My wife has me carry her stuff, I'm like a walking handbag. Ah yes, the my bag, I'm single so don't have that glorious upgrade available sadly. Abusive behavior is funny when coming from a woman. I pointed out to my husband that in movies and TV shows, women get upset by a man's actions and slap him and no one bats an eye. I'm an older woman who grew up with a violent mother and I know firsthand the scars that remain from those acts of abuse. Over the years I've heard too many horror stories from male friends and in forums where they describe horrific physical, verbal, and emotional abuse from their female partners. Showing a woman hitting a man normalizes this cruelty and it needs to stop. Spot on. As a man who had previously been pushed around and punched in one instance, let alone the constant psychological and emotional abuse throughout the entire relationship, before leaving an ex many years ago, it was treated as a complete joke by both the police and most friends / people I knew. The policeman laughed at me and said, mate, that doesn't sound right, women don't do that sort of thing, and most other people I know just had a laugh about it, not taking it seriously whatsoever. I wasn't in any real danger as I'm a strong person who is physically capable of defending themselves, but that is irrelevant. Would it have been the same story if I had been cracked in the jaw and pushed around by a bloke, if I was a woman? You be the judge. Sorry you had to deal with that. It's so disturbing that police, the ones who are supposed to help, just laugh at you. And then, if you had fought back, they would have labeled you the abuser. It's not right. I know so many men that are victims of female abuse and can't don't say anything BC society doesn't permit it. It's a human issue that transcends gender, race, religion, culture, etc. It's not okay. I was one of them. Especially not fun knowing that if I ever tried to defend myself, I'd most likely be the one going to jail, not her. Edit, caught a typo.